Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Hell, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend this past weekend. Family, friends, turkey, a little napping, a little football. Maybe you did some shopping on Friday. All that good stuff, and hopefully you're starting the week out on a positive note. It's now the beginning of December. It's been a month since the election, and they're still counting votes. They just found 55 ballots in New York. Oh my God, they're still counting them in Iowa. They haven't even figured out who won the Democratic, caucus back in whenever that happened. It's just crazy. Now, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm at ground zero. I've got 2 Senate races happening. And I talked about it last time on my podcast last week. Oh my God, I'm getting bombarded. Text. It's on the radio. It's on the TV. I'm getting my mail every day. I've got more flyers for whoever's in the race. It's like Groundhog Day. I can't get away from it. I have another 5 weeks to go before even if they even have this election. Oh my God, it's just crazy down here. Here's what we should do. Do any of you guys play the lottery out there? All right. If you don't, or if you do, this is how it works. You go into the convenience store. You say, I want to buy a Powerball and a Mega Ball. They're $2 a piece. You fill out your little card. Or if you have, you can let the computer pick them. Either way, you give him the money, you pay him, he puts your input in, and he gives you back your sheet. And if you did your own numbers, you have it back up as a paper ballot. Then the night of the lottery, whether it's that night or a couple days later, they roll the balls out. They have certified people looking at it. They pick the numbers, and in like 2 seconds, boom, they know who won, where it was, everything. That's how we need to do the election. What I've seen that's going on is, it's mind-boggling that it's going to be 2021, and it's now a month, and we still don't know who the president is, let alone everybody else that's still counting ballots, or representatives, state electors. I mean, just do the lottery machines. That sounds like a really cool thing. Hey, show an ID, they prove it is, hey, boom. Or get the banks to do it. They love having control of everything, They know everything anyway. But it's just, and going forward, how about we just use the National Guard in every state? Have the military do it. They'll check your ID. They'll have the secure space. We don't have to have security, just let the military do it. And if any funny stuff happens, they'll just protect everything, the machines, the ballots, and then let the courts do it. That's all I'm going to say. I pity everybody that's in Georgia, because I know that we're all going through the same thing. We got everybody moving in here. They all want to say, it's just, may the best person win legally. Legal votes, no illegal stuff. Okay? It's like I'm a sports guy. All right? I play by the rules. I don't want to win by being a cheater or, a bad call or, you got to play real, If you lose, you lose. But, at least you lost to someone that legitimately. So that's what's going on down here in Atlanta. It's just crazy. Stay away from the state until after January. Then come down. We'd love to have you. It's good for the economy and, the hotels and the restaurants and all that stuff. And you don't have to wear a mask either. So anyway, thanks for chiming in again. It's the holiday season. Christmas is coming around the corner. Got Hanukkah. We got Christmas. We got Festivus. We got Costanza. It's going to be fun. Can't wait to shut the door on 2020, 2021. It's going to be a great year for everybody. Can't wait to get there soon enough. Tonight, I've got one of my favorite buds. He's another preppy. Went to Seton Hall. Used to play the Pirates in hockey way back when I went to the Petty School. His name is Mr. Kevin Rourke. He's up in kind of central North Jersey. and he works for a company called DMA, which is Davis Marketing Associates Inc. And he's in the signage, graphics, branding kind of thing, and LED lighting. He's got his hands on all that kind of stuff, but he's an expert. His title is specifications specialist, I think. But anyway, it's been around signage. Kevin, say hello to our commercial construction coffee talk listeners out there.
How is everyone?
And I know you're up in North Jersey someplace, but that we all want to know when you're in Jersey, what exit or what exit off the Parkway or the Turnpike are you?
That's the first time I've heard that, but actually it's exit 14 off the Turnpike and 145 off the Garden State Parkway. So there you go.
Hey, you know how it goes. Last week I had a Philly guy. We were talking about the Atlantic City Expressway. We were talking about which cheesesteaks are better, Jim's, yep. Geno's, Pat's on South Street, so now I've got a New Jersey. Of course, I had to bring the Parkway and the Turnpike into it, so.
As soon as you say you're from New Jersey, that's the first thing, one exit, right? So
yeah. Listen, my mom was from Philly. My dad was from New York. I went to prep school in New Jersey. So, Pennsylvania Turnpike, New Jersey Turnpike, the Triborough Bridge,
right.
I feel like I'm home again,
That's how we get around from point A to B, top to bottom. So,
well,
it's a Garden State, baby.
Yeah. Hey, listen, New Jersey, you got North Jersey, you got South Jersey, but it's the Garden State. It is what it is. So
That's right.
Well, Kevin, we kind of do these things in segments. So you got to tell us your story.
Sure.
I kind of let the cat out of the bag that you already went to Seton Hall, but we want to know where you grew up, where you went to school, how you ended up where you were today.
Sure.
Do you have any dogs, kids, et cetera. And then we'll talk some signage stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate the invite, Dave. So I'm born and raised in New Jersey. Grew up in Roseland, and like Dave said, I went to Seton Hall Prep for high school, and then after Seton Hall Prep, I went headed up to Boston, headed up to New England, to Merrimack College up in North Andover, Mass. Spent my time up there through college years, and worked my way back to Jersey, and started in the business in 1990. So I was working with a company called EGL. And before that, actually, while I was home, I worked there for years, pretty much starting sweeping floors, driving trucks, and actually manufacturing materials. And my dad was actually in lighting. He worked for Westinghouse. And the neighbor, we were neighbors with the guy, the company, the family actually that owned EGL, the Cortez family. My dad was just worked his way over to EGL as Westinghouse was basically moving into Osram, Sylvania, and they were breaking up. And that's actually how I got my start in neon lighting and cold cathode and fluorescence. I did that for 17 years, and the business was booming. But obviously, technology, that's what happens. And LEDs were coming in strong. And obviously, didn't want to go down with the ship. That was a technology which I still think is amazing because it's all handcrafted, but the reality of it was LED was going to move it over. And, as we know now, fluorescence and neon are kind of a thing of the past. But I couldn't sell my soul, so I didn't immediately go into the LED business. I actually worked for a very large vinyl manufacturer. So the same thing, that's where I started to get, started to do specification with EGL in lighting. And then I got into specification in regards to film for backlit signs, for vehicle wraps, for banners, you name it, anything that had to do with vehicle decal. And it was a great business. Like I said, I was with that company for 8 years. And all these companies I'd worked for, I've always traveled nationally, actually even globally. And, it was a good ride. And then I switched from that company, and in 2015 started with DMA as an independent. So I was repping multiple companies. I rep a very large, prominent LED manufacturer. I work for a large, prominent American manufacturer for acrylic and polycarbonate. And I have a couple other brands too. So yeah, it's been over 30 years I've been doing this and just working with brand owners, designers, fabricators, and just kind of, networking and working with this whole industry and all these different segments. It's been a great business. These are some strange times now, but obviously we'll get through all this. But and I've learned a lot and know a lot of great people in the business. You being one of them.
We met at the sign show at when you were in the film side of things,
Yep.
and we've known each other a while. So that I remember I didn't know you in the LED time, but
Mhm.
I definitely knew you in the film gig, and then I know you from going into the DMA side of things. So um,
Yeah, I mean, I've been a widget guy, right? That's what I know. I know widgets, and I know how to use a lot of these components. And it's good. I've always felt I was a conduit, which I still am a conduit, because you come in the middle. You're not on fabrication, you're not on design, and so they're willing to listen, right? They want to listen to what I've got to say in regards to new technology, what's innovative, what do I see out there, what do I see from one fabricator to another, and I want the people that you and I know to understand that the industry is not stagnant, right? Technology is out there, and we butt heads oftentimes. A lot of times, the fabricators that they've been around since 1950, and their attitude is, well, we've been doing it this way for 50 years or 60 years. It's worked out fine. But that's the wrong attitude, because that attitude goes the way of the dinosaur, especially with technology. It's constantly evolving. And if
mhm.
you're not keeping up with technology, whether it be in lighting or substrates or just sustainable products, I mean, the list goes on and on. Digital, right? Touchless, because of where we're at right now. Obviously in the acrylic world, talking about antimicrobial acrylics and polycarbonates, things that I never would have thought I'd have to talk about. But these are all hot topics, and people wouldn't know how to source that. And so typically, I'd like to think that's where I'm a conduit to help people out, whether it's something I represent or something I don't. But if I can help people out instead of having to Google it, that's kind of where most of my time, I'd say 85% of my time is spent.
You know why the thing that's really neat is the reason why you're successful is because you started when you're doing the EGL thing and they had you sweeping the floor or doing all the grunt work. That experience is probably the most. I mean, my family, when I turned 16, I worked when I was the first mate on my grandfather's ship, and doing the bait and getting up at 5 in the morning and all that stuff when I was a young kid. But in Pennsylvania, you get your license at 16. So all the grandsons, when they turned 16, you had to go spend your summer in the scrapyard.
Yep.
You know, and I shoveled asbestos. I did welding. I mean, I did all that stuff. But all the little jobs I did during the summer when I was growing up, that was like that. That was the way you did stuff.
You got to earn your stripes, right? Especially my dad was operations manager. So if they thought that, the operations manager's son's going to come here is not going to work. And I worked my tail off, and because I didn't want anybody to ever think that somebody was giving me anything. And like you said, I earned my stripes, and people respect that, just like I respect people that have come from base and worked hard to get where they are. I mean, a lot of successful people I know, they weren't given anything. They
Oh
had to
no,
work
listen. I mean,
together to earn it, right?
I remember that one summer we were building this sandblasting booth for train cars to come in, and we put up we welded the paint booths, and the superintendent on the project, Dominic, said, "Hey, David, Big Sid, that was my grandfather. Big Sid's coming in with the owner. You got to go up there and undo the overhead crane." And I'm like, "I'm not going up there. It's 30 feet above the railroad tracks."
Yeah,
He
yeah,
goes, "Dude, you just welded it. Your grandfather's here. You go to dinner with him every night. You got to go up there and undo the crane, man." And I'm
right.
like, "Okay." So I went up and I did it. And I'm looking down, and the weld's held, thank God. And but there was no special treatment. He was treating me just like anybody else. It was just that I had to actually work harder
Yeah.
than the other guys because I was family, in there.
Well, there's
But
uncertainty for me. I mean, I'm calling on fabricators, and there's a true, I look at something like that. These are still products that are being built, right? And there's craftsmanship. And I mean, I pride and I love calling on people that literally have the craftsmanship within these companies, right? They actually got people that can actually, do still weld, right? And understand engineering and basically manufacturing, and making well-built products. And these people, the ones that are not, some of these people are, have been on the bench 25, 30, 35, 40. That's all they know. And they are very passionate when they come into the shop. They punch in, punch out, and work very hard. And the crazy part about that also, Dave, is they never get the chance to see the finished product. Everywhere I've gone in regards to manufacturing, most of them don't get the chance to see the finished product. So what I do is, no matter what company I'm working for, the finished product, I take pictures of finished product. I show these people the raw material you make. This is what it's for. I'll tell you what, it's amazing to watch the reaction of it. And it's surprising how many of those people never get the chance to do that, to see their finished work and their pride and joy. Obviously the world I'm in is signage and architecture, but
Right.
it's true. I think that's valid everywhere.
So you're up in Jersey.
Mhm.
You're basically up there in ground zero. March closes everything down. How did you guys cope? I mean, business wise, what went on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, I was for 30 years, I was 65% travel. And then when you go from 65% travel, and that's basically national, sometimes internationally, and it comes to a screaming halt, which happened March 1st, I hadn't traveled after that. So I've been pretty much in my third bedroom, slash office slash lab, just pretty much doing Zoom. And this is
Hey, there you go. We got some real live lights there. Show me the clock. Let me see the clock.
this is the world that I'm in. But
There you go.
and that's really what it's been. It's Zoom meetings, and it's difficult because I'm in a tangible business, right? We're in a visual business. It's dimensional. You're limited to what you can do on a Zoom meeting, and but it's a necessity right now. So we've been working through it. My wife works at a VA, so we've got some crazy schedules, right? We're trying to balance it, right? We've got two kids. I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old heavily involved in sports. They're doing, they're splitting it 50-50, doing virtual, and then they're going to school as well. We don't know how long that's going to last. Hopefully it lasts, but, and you just adapt, right? I mean, I think everybody's the same way, and I'm very fortunate that, everybody's healthy and we're busy, and, we can complain, but you gotta make do. You gotta work through it. So, do I miss going on the road? Absolutely. Actually, I've been on the road one day, and it's funny. I don't think I've ever been excited putting on a pair of khakis and dress shoes like I was this trip. It was the most bizarre feeling that I felt like I was actually accomplishing, and I was going to actually have a nice conversation with somebody face to face over coffee, granted with masks, but it was the most bizarre thing that I was actually excited to put on khakis, and I'm not wearing sweatpants. So, and I'm wearing pants today, by the way, too.
Yeah, don't stand up, please.
No, exactly. No, I'm good.
No Jeffrey Cubans.
But no, that's really what it is. You got to adapt, and listen. There's a lot more optimism in the past couple of weeks. I think it's great to see what's going on. Obviously, the elections are behind us, and we're hearing about vaccines, and really hope that happens quick, and hopefully that benefits all these industries that are some are in a good spot, some are not in a good spot, and like I said, I feel for these people. I want everybody to be working. I want things to get back to normal, right? And it'll take a little bit of time, but I'm optimistic. I mean, I'm usually very optimistic, but these have been some trying times for everybody, So, but
so in the signage branding side of things, what do you think is like the really cool up and coming thing that's going to be that everybody's going to want to put in their stores or so forth?
Technology, well, it's interesting. I mean, it's gone, as you know, the stores and the formats have changed. And so in regards to that, it's not just these vast open spaces. So they're becoming more experiential, right? So experiential meaning there's going to be, a theme. There's going to be something to draw people in. And so for us, we look at components like acrylics and polycarbonates, and we look at the print industry. And we know that people can take our substrates and they can actually create three-dimensional textured prints. And so something like that. So the print technology, what that's doing to substrates, the lighting technology, the idea of using solar energy, which is a big deal too. You're looking at the advantage, obviously one of the biggest advantages of LEDs is low voltage.
Yeah,
right?
low voltage. Low heat, low voltage. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So implementing, 12 and 24 volt technology and dimming capabilities and RGB, which is color change. I mean, you can come up with some really inventive stuff. I mean, that's where a lot of my time is spent. I mean, here's a great example. This is frost acrylic, and this is digitally printed. This is chicken wire. So this is digitally printed, and you can't see it, but it's actually textured. And the idea that you can do this to replace glass, right? So this is at 50% less weight. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that when I get a chance to speak to a brand owner, if I get a chance to speak to designers, you'll know you struck a chord when their eyes are like, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah, there's a way. And you're trying to work with all these different technologies. And then you're looking at, obviously, digital technology is a big deal too, right? And the whole virtual world, you're seeing a lot of that as well. and just watching all these things integrate. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you know what, Amazon, but it's going to be a mixed bag. I mean, we've talked about this before, the idea to have both, right? To have brick and mortar, and obviously to have a digital aspect and have both work together. Listen, I know, yeah, granted, am I semi-biased? Yeah, because I'm in that business, but I love the idea of getting out. I like the idea of
Oh,
going.
yeah.
I know that I like the idea of interacting with people. The world's changed. People staring at phones and looking at computers, and there's no face to face, and I miss that dramatically. I really do. I mean, it's even something basic of going to a hotel, right? And you're mixing with people you don't even know, but we're all out there for the same thing, right? To basically provide a service and do the best we can. And that's gone away, and I'm really looking forward to getting back at it again. And again, the technology right now on a lot of things, it's constantly evolving, and you got to stay ahead of it, right? We do too. As an independent representative, we're always watching what's going on with ourselves, with our competitors. What's going to be the latest and greatest? What could possibly displace what we've got? What's something that's complementary? And just making sure that we keep our customer base, abreast of what's going on. So.
Have you picked up new clients, through the whole gig, or lost some, or?
Yeah, I've had, in regards to the products that we represent, unfortunately, we've the largest product lines I have, the LED side and the acrylic and polycarbonate, has done stellar in this market, which is pretty interesting. And the good part about it is I had a couple great sign programs and some architectural applications, prior to COVID, that kicked in, that were major rebrands that they brought me in early. I had a chance to do some prototyping with the materials I had, and it worked out very well. And so I've got some really large bank clients. I've got a lot of healthcare. Of course, you've got a lot of pharmacy and supermarkets. Those are the industries right now that are doing really well. And, prior to that, the strongest market I was in before March 1, believe it or not, was hospitality. Hospitality was booming for me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very exciting, and I miss that, because one of the greatest things that I always love going into, whether it be a branding agency or a design firm or even an end user, to be able to walk in these places and take a look at their storyboards, right? To see what they're working on. And then hopefully one day when you're presenting these folks, that they'll be able to implement your product and say, I was part of that project, right? So right now, believe it or not, another large segment I'm working on is stadium work. I do a lot of stadium work. And it's exciting to see there. People are rebranding, the refreshing.
You're not doing those cardboard signs now in the stadium, are you?
No cardboard, my friend.
Okay, man. I'm just saying,
I'm a permanent sign guy. I'm basically working on the stuff that's up there for 10 years. So
Hey, on my virtual events coming up, I might get some of those cardboard things, just, hey, look, I got a bunch of people here.
Yeah, I got a guy. I'm one of those I got a guy. I can get you hooked up with somebody like that.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it's
well, look, New Jersey passed marijuana, medicinal. So I know you're going to go after that market, in there, because all those stores are going to need stuff done, right?
I read the papers, exactly. Listen, it's just another retailer, and the retailers are trying to figure out, what are we going to do to draw people in, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the illuminated sign business. I'm in the basically experiential business. And I just know a lot of parts and pieces that actually could really dress up the inside and exterior of any retailer. And the cannabis industry is booming, much like the craft breweries is big business. And these are new opportunities. It's sad. You're seeing some large names. Unfortunately, they're going the way of the dinosaur, but there are new ones budding up. No pun intended. So yeah, it's these are interesting times, but we're just watching. Who's navigating and what's going to be the latest and greatest.
Well, I got a great name for a cannabis store, for a sign. This bud's for you, and you can,
as if Anheuser-Busch would not be all.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, it's
lawyers
one of those things, but my friend, he's on chemo and whatever, so he's medicinal, and it helps him with his chemo and stuff. But he said, oh yeah, they passed it in New Jersey, and they're gonna put the first cannabis store right next to the steak store, but I know it's gonna be beautiful, and and like cannabis, you get a bad rap. Everybody thinks they're like jewelry stores. They got to remove all the merchandise and put it in the safe every night.
Yeah.
And some of these places are freaking beautiful.
Well, you know,
So
it's funny, Dave. I mean, you know, the word has been overused, but I will use it. Is the idea of people having to pivot, right? So one of the biggest industries that we were tied into because of the materials we had and have still was the display industry, right? And so unfortunately, with the way that the retailers are going and downsizing their spaces, therefore they don't need nearly as many displays. However, if you look at industries like you just mentioned, like the cannabis industries, some of these places, they look like Apple stores, right? And they have these pristine acrylic cases. And so these people have actually had to adapt and can adapt, where we're working with these display industries and they're trying to figure out, well, what can we offer to these people that they'd never seen before, right? So the idea that you could do direct to print acrylic, you can create fades, gradients, make it branded, make the acrylic part of the architecture, shape it. They get excited, right? And they get a chance to talk to the client to come up with these new ideas. And they just, like I said, they have to pivot and change their business. I mean, I think we all know, I mean, on the acrylic and polycarbonate, I don't need to tell you why we're so busy. Obviously, the barrier business,
oh yeah.
fields just boomed. It's still big business for us. But the idea that, to come up with something creative, not just a barrier, but to have it customized. Just people don't really, think that until you hopefully explain to them, how you can go about doing that, and just showing them there's new opportunities out there. You just basically have to go out there, educate yourself, and have to change your sales pitch, if you will. But it's exciting. So
The so for all our listeners out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk, if you're a brand, an architect, you're looking for the new up and coming product or need help with the image, how would someone get in touch with you, Kevin? How would
yeah,
they reach
Dave. So,
out to you?
yeah. So I mean, I'm very accessible. So the one thing I pride myself, I mean, honestly, I'm available 24/7. I mean, and it's not all people use it, but on occasion people will if they get themselves in a jam and have questions. And you can reach me by my email, which is kevin@davismarketinginc.com. Our website is www.davismarketinginc.com, and my cell number is 973-727-6595. And yeah, feel free to give me a call if I can help you in any way. Whether it be with your signage or branding or architecture or lighting, by all means, give me a call. And even if it's not that, even if I can help you in or as a sourcing or assisting in fabrication, installation, I have a lot of contacts because I've covered such a vast territory, and I've met a lot of great people along the way, and we'll continue that trend.
So like I said before, if you're a brand out there or you're an architect or a contractor, you're looking for someone that knows this stuff, that and you have a question, reach out to Kevin. He knows his stuff. And I just don't say that. I know a lot of people, and I've known him forever. Even though he went to Seton Hall, that's okay. We're not going to hold that against him. I went
Go
to Purdue.
Pirates!
I know Falcons. So, but boy, do we have some good hockey games against you guys, man. So it was war, you know.
Back in the day, I happen to be one of the guys in the stands cheering my
Oh, I
pack.
know. You know how it goes. It's a prep school thing, you know. So,
Oh,
but he's your man, and if you give him a chance, he'll help you. He'll prove his worth, and then some. And you won't go wrong. If any of you guys out there want to reach me, you can get me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. If you're not a subscriber, on my website at ccr-mag.com, there's a subscribe button. Click on it. You can become a subscriber. I'm always looking for projects, personnel announcements. Send them to me. We look at everything. I'll put on the social media page. You never know, it might end up in the magazine. I've got my newest shoot. It's going to post hopefully tomorrow, if not Monday. B's Barber Shop. I've got one of the largest sporting goods brands, FPL out of Canada, 800 locations coming up on my December cover to finish the year off on a positive note. And a lot of good stuff, in early next year. So if you're not
great
familiar,
magazine, Dave. It's a great resource too, and it's fun to basically take a look at the
there you go.
project. There
This is
you
what it
go.
looks like. So, if you're not a, we send it out to 125,000 people digitally. We do a small print run, digital printer. The magazine looks like $1 million, very healthy. And but it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win. If you don't send me something, I can't post it. I can't look at it. I can't consider for an article. And that's the way it goes. So you got to, reach out to me, and I'm here to help you. And same thing with Kevin. You have his contact info. So Kevin, with you leaving, if there was one word or thought that you'd like to leave our listeners, what would it be?
Um, I honestly, I think change is good. Really, that's what it comes down to. Change is good. I mean, a lot of people, it's change is not always easy, but again, because we've had to adapt, I really think the change is good, and it all works out. And like I said, hopefully we get through this thing, and hopefully people are a lot kinder, and they just treat people with respect. But yeah, I just really think change is very important, and it hopefully works to everybody's benefit. So
I think that's so apropos because everything has changed. So, and I always look at the glass half full, not half empty. And
sure.
I always play to the buzzer. So, my motto is never, never quit, until the fat lady sings or there's 0, 0, 0 on the board. So
Exactly.
change is good. And you got to be flexible to adapt everything's fluid every day. Things change. I learn something new every day. So,
Exactly.
so with that said, for all of you out there, look, stay positive. It's a couple weeks. You got Christmas coming up. You got the holidays, New Year's. The New Year, hopefully they'll have a national championship game. Remember, until we get the therapeutics and the vaccines working, all this stuff, remember, wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Keep your surroundings. You'll be okay. And, and if you do sick, call your doctor. Most likely you're going to be okay. And stay positive. Have a smile. And enjoy the holidays with your friends and your family. And if the governor's telling you not to be, listen, just live your life. Enjoy yourself. And we're all going to make it. And he's right. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And there's changes coming. It's going to be nice to get back. I mean, I haven't seen people since January. That was when my show came up. I've got my big event. I've got to do it virtually. So it'll be interesting to see how it all happens. But, we're social animals. We're not built to be in caves. So I'm looking forward to getting back out on the road and seeing some people. And I've got my COVID beard on. I shave it every week for my gig. Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen you with the goatee. So,
Yeah, this thing's coming off on the 23rd. My wife hates it. My kids hate it, but
I look like Grizzly Adams, but I have to shave it to get on here because I look really, really scruffy, and
it's sad. I mean, I'm 53 years old and I still can't grow a beard without having it. I look like Patchy's McGee. It's so I think it's the faux, but now it's gray. I grew one of these things 15 years ago. It kept its color. It was brown. Well, I was thinking about Just for Men, but I'm like, I'm just going to shave it.
I went to the dentist and I had my hair. And my hair was long. And like, oh my God, Mr. Corson.
How long ago was that?
I've never seen you with long hair, man. And I'm like, yeah, do I look like my deadhead days, right? And they're like, oh my God, I've never seen you with long hair. But it was getting so long. I was like, oh, I'm gonna buzz it. I'm starting lacrosse on Sunday. I'm going back out on the lax green with my men, with my boys, and I don't like sweating with the long hair, so I shaved it, and I'm getting ready for lacrosse for the winter season here for December and January before the real season starts.
Nice.
And well, listen, Kevin, it's been a pleasure, man. You're the man. You're the best. For all you listeners out there, be safe. Catch us. If you want to find us, we're on Spotify, Google, and Apple. I live stream these on our social media, so that's where you're going to find these podcasts. You can either listen to it audibly or watch the video. We really appreciate you chiming in. And I'm going to say goodnight up in North Jersey, Kevin.
Good night, everyone, and appreciate your time.
And I'm going to say goodnight from the ATL, where they're still counting ballots. They're finding ballots and all that stuff. And we're going to sign off, and I will catch you next time on a future episode. And we'll catch you next time. Kevin, you're the man. We'll talk.
Take care, Dave. Thanks.
All right, man. See ya.